Canada, land of stunning landscapes and rampant political corruption. Hold on to your toques, folks. Things are about to get uncomfortably Canadian. Allegations of foreign interference, drug trafficking, and financial crimes. This strikes at the heart of Canadian democracy. Whispers of shady dealings and backroom agreements. The RCMP and CBSA have raised red flags about foreign interference. Sophisticated networks with deep pockets, influencing Canadian politics for their own gain. Buckle up, buttercups. We're diving into Canadian political scandals. Let's address the elephant in the room, or should we say the panda in the parliament. The RCMP and CBSA have been sounding the alarm about foreign interference in Canadian politics. Now, we're not saying that every Chinese restaurant owner is a secret agent, but the possibility of foreign actors trying to buy influence is concerning. Instead of buying groceries, they're allegedly trying to buy political favors. These are serious accusations, and if true, they paint a disturbing picture. But, as any good hockey fan knows, sometimes you have to drop the gloves and fight for what's right. Okay folks, time to talk about something truly heartbreaking. The fentanyl crisis. This isn't just a Canadian problem. It's a North American epidemic that's claiming thousands of lives every year. Imagine a silent killer, a wolf in sheep's clothing, slipping across the border with alarming ease. That's fentanyl, a synthetic opioid many times more potent than heroin, and it's flooding the streets of Canadian cities, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. From Vancouver's downtown east side to small towns across the country, fentanyl doesn't discriminate, claiming the lives of people from all walks of life. The RCMP and CBSA are doing their best to stem the flow of fentanyl into Canada, but they're fighting an uphill battle. Critics argue that the Canadian government hasn't given them the resources they need to effectively combat this crisis. Hold on to your wallets, folks, because we're about to enter the world of high-stakes financial crime, where dirty money gets a squeaky clean makeover and nobody seems to be batting an eyelash. Money laundering, the art of taking ill-gotten gains and making them appear legitimate, is a global problem. And Canada, unfortunately, is not immune to its charms. Imagine a giant washing machine, but instead of clothes, it's churning through mountains of cash from drug trafficking, organized crime, and other nefarious activities. So, how does dirty money get laundered in Canada? Think real estate, luxury goods, and even seemingly legitimate businesses. Criminals are getting creative, using shell companies, offshore accounts, and complex financial transactions to hide their dirty money in plain sight. And when banks fail to adequately scrutinize the source of funds flowing through their accounts, it creates opportunities for criminals to launder their dirty money and continue their illegal activities. Remember TD Bank, that friendly bank with the green logo and the catchy jingle? Well, it turns out they've been caught with their hands in the proverbial cookie jar. In 2020, TD Bank paid $1.2 billion to settle allegations of turning a blind eye to money laundering from Colombian drug cartels. The U.S. investigation revealed lax anti-money laundering controls extended to their Canadian branches. The case exposed vulnerabilities in Canada's anti-money laundering regime. Critics argue that Canada needs tougher regulations and enforcement. Political donations, the lifeblood of any democracy. But what happens when the flow of money into politics becomes murky, when the lines between legitimate contributions and potential influence peddling become blurred. That's the question plaguing Canada, where concerns about transparency and accountability in political financing have reached a fever pitch. Imagine a game of poker, but instead of chips, it's stacks of cash being tossed around, and the players are wealthy individuals, corporations, and even foreign entities, all vying for the attention and favor of Canadian politicians. Now, we're not saying that every political donation is a bribe in disguise, but when wealthy individuals or corporations can make large donations to political parties or individual candidates, it raises legitimate concerns about undue influence. Critics argue that Canada needs to overhaul its political financing laws, implementing stricter limits on donations, banning foreign contributions outright, and requiring greater transparency from political parties and candidates about the source of their funding. Amidst the storm of allegations, scandals, and finger-pointing, one lone voice cries out from the wilderness, offering a glimmer of hope in these troubled times. That voice belongs to John Rustad, the Conservative leader, who has emerged as a vocal critic of the government's handling of, well, pretty much everything. Rustad, a man who doesn't mince words, has been particularly critical of the government's inaction on the fentanyl crisis, accusing them of being more concerned with virtue, signaling them with taking concrete action to protect Canadians. He's also taken aim at the government's economic policies, arguing that they've made Canada less competitive on the world stage and stifled economic growth. Rustad's plan involves investing in infrastructure, streamlining regulations, and promoting greater collaboration between the private and public sectors. Whether Rustad's proposals are the right solution remains to be seen, but his willingness to speak truth to power and offer concrete solutions is a breath of fresh air in a political landscape often characterized by partisan bickering and empty rhetoric. So, there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the underbelly of Canadian politics, where allegations of corruption, foreign interference, and criminal activity cast a long shadow over the true North, strong and free. This isn't just a story about bad apples or a few isolated incidents. It's a systemic issue that strikes at the heart of Canadian democracy. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to continue to turn a blind eye to pretend that everything is fine and dandy? Well, our institutions are eroded from within. Or are we going to demand better from our elected officials, to hold them accountable for their actions, and to insist on a government that is truly transparent, accountable, and responsive to the needs of its citizens? The choice is ours. The future of Canada depends on it.